Here's a quick cut preview of an upcoming episode of the Work It, Live It, Own It podcast. What advice would you offer aspiring entrepreneurs who are hesitant to leave their current jobs and pursue their passions?
Yes, I would say, well, you have a team, right? Don't think that you're on your own starting off all by yourself. Just because you don't have employees doesn't mean you don't have a team. Maybe your team is your partner or your sisters. You have people you can ask for help, and learning to receive help without shame is the number one thing that's going to help skyrocket you as an entrepreneur in any business you decide to start. Know that your team is already there. You can start asking them right now for help and support, whether that looks like asking for capital or asking for help making connections or asking for someone to watch your kid for 2 hours while you figure some stuff out. My second piece of advice would be, if you're holding yourself back from leaving a full-time job and transitioning into entrepreneurship, I want to make sure you're not doing it because you think that having like a W-2 job where you're an employee is a safe bet, because it doesn't matter how cushy the job is or how much money you're making or how stable they want you to think it is. It doesn't matter if they say our job is a family. The reality is that if something happens and they need to lay people off, they're not going to lose sleep over letting you go. I know so many people who are in tech jobs right now who are going through layoffs after layoffs after layoffs because things are changing fast. If I had stayed in my job at the university, right, through the pandemic, so many people got laid off from universities during the pandemic because people weren't coming to colleges in the same way. We were changing the whole way we do education. There's a strong message coming at entrepreneurs, and especially women who have families, that the safe and responsible thing to do is stay an employee because that is safe. But it's not actually any safer than being an entrepreneur. It's just someone else's success or failures that dictates whether you have a job and a paycheck instead of your own. So if you're keeping yourself small because you think it's the safer option, just zoom out real big and look around. Remember that that's a story that we've been telling ourselves that may or may not have been true at some time in the past, but it's not necessarily true right now. So if it's not true, does that change the way you feel about starting your own business now? And if it does, go for that.
Because what you just said right there actually feeds into the statistic I mentioned in a previous episode that men are more apt to leave a job where they are uncomfortable, where they are fighting depression, where there's a lot of stress. They will walk away, take a pay cut for happiness. Whereas statistically, as women, we feel I gotta hold on to this job because it means security. And as women, I think a lot of us, I know for me, security is a big thing. I want security. And you think that 9 to 5 with the health benefits, and I'm not taking away from that because health insurance is very important, but we'll hold on and we will suffer. We will allow ourselves to be talked down to, discredited, devalued for that 9 to 5. So you brought up a good point. Don't think that that job is ultimately secure. I've worked in education for over 20 years, and I can tell you there have been times that I've lost my position, even in education. Nothing is secure under the sun, but if you're willing to put in the work to make it happen for yourself, having a schedule that's going to work for you. Because, hey, if you think about it, yes, if you had a brick and mortar, you had that coffee shop, then you got to be open for business. Got 2 rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready?
I am.
What's the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself since becoming an entrepreneur?
The most surprising thing I have learned about myself since becoming an entrepreneur is that I am a great employee, but I am a terrible boss to myself. I'm not a mean boss, but I'm not always the most assertive, right? A good boss is going to give you structure and boundaries and direction, clear goals to reach. And sometimes I struggle with doing that. I can show up for other people, above and beyond, but in my own business, it's really hard to do that because my boss is me and she's too lenient. She's too lenient sometimes.
We can be so lenient on ourselves. Absolutely. When we're given structure and tasks, some of us do great without it, and they can focus and pinpoint. And then some of us, we're just loosey goosey. We just fly by the seat of our pants and we go rogue. So
Yeah,
I
wouldn't
get
it be
it.
great if instead of hiring like a virtual assistant, we could hire like a virtual boss to just like tell us what to do, like
I think we
remind us
can
to
get a
get our stuff in?
Right. I think we can get accountability partners that can say, okay, what are your goals for the week? And then check in, or even those groups like you talked about, what are some things that we're going to focus on for this month and then check in? Yeah, I get it. We can get accountability partners or someone to check in with us at least once a month minimum to hold us accountable, hold our feet to the fire, as it were. Second question for you. If you could travel anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would you go and why?
My gosh, I would go to Denmark,
Okay.
Copenhagen specifically. It's been on my list for a while. I am obsessed with Denmark. Like, it's either the number one or number two happiest country in the world. I'm a life coach, right? Like, I want to help people find happiness. I feel like this is where I need to go. This is where I need to learn from. Like, why are they so happy? How can we help this? Also, I think it's just beautiful and picturesque. I love the sort of like the Scandinavian countries with all the like water and canals and the fjords and the mountains and weird food. I think that would be my number one place I'd want to go to.